Hey, it's Deep Focus. I'm your host, Mitch Goldman. This is part 3 of 3 parts. Program recorded January 9th, 2023, a Monday evening. Brian Charette, my guest, on the topic of Jimmy Smith. If you don't have any of Brian's music, by golly, check this guy out. He's a wonder. And I'm sure after listening to this, you're going to want to come see him when he comes to your town. Brian Charette. Okay. Enjoy.
And we were talking, I just got a record. I didn't have a record player for years, and I've been buying all of these records. Not obviously what we're listening to, but I've been buying all his records on wax and checking it out. And I just played that organ, last year.
Yeah, wow.
Which really made me feel connected to that sound more somehow. Just being in that place, where he made all those amazing records. So I actually never practice. This is like the first time I've been practicing in years.
Wow.
Many years.
I have to thank you for sharing. So you go off down these dark roads alone and you come back with these jewels of knowledge and information that inform your playing. And you bring here to us on WKCR and share all this.
Well, that's the way we roll, right?
Yeah, man.
If everybody did it that way, it'd be a different place.
Right. That's the good place we try to stay.
We're in the happiness business.
That's it, man. Brian Charette, come check him out. It's briancharette.com, right?
That's
you
right.
Keep that up to date.
That's right. Yeah, very up to date.
That's not easy to do.
Oh, it is.
Everybody else, you always look like, I'm going to start doing a blog. And you look like the last entry was 2000.
Well, everything is up to date because I do every single thing.
It's not easy, man.
You learn how to do it. It's actually easier than getting people to do it for you who don't do it right.
Yeah.
So much easier.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. I like it. What now? We got a different band. We have some different. Are you hearing different things in this recording from Köln than we heard from Paris?
Especially different is the bass line, which it's 1969, right?
Yeah.
So I'm starting to hear like electric bass lines in the organ bass.
What's interesting about that is it's Jimmy Smith playing the bass. Mm-hmm.
But the bass line starts to sound, kind of older boogaloo organ basses, doom, doom, doom. Or even more simple, this bass starts to go like an electric.
Is he doing that with his feet or with his left hand?
He's doing it with his hand, and he's punching the pedals with his feet to get the accents.
Wow.
But it's not an exact science. It's a little cracked out, But those kind of in-between articulations are what give it the sound, or what give it the thump.
Man.
Yeah.
And do you do his, I don't know what to call them, acolytes, followers, his people that he's influenced, did they do that same sort of thing? Is that like kind of how it's done, or everybody's got
I would
their
say
own?
yes. I would say most people who play the pedals, most of the people who play the Hammond organ are playing from a Jimmy Smith approach, very much. People have different things they do. Of course, who does it amazing is Chester Thompson of Tower of Power, who goes like heel to toe on the pedals, getting 16th notes like Rocco Prestia bass lines, especially on the song Squib Cakes. If you listen to this, is my favorite track from Tower of Power, who was where I first became aware of the Hammond organ is through Tower of Power.
Wow, interesting.
Yep.
And then he later played with Santana and all kinds of other people too. Yeah.
And he's still around doing it. Actually, a really cool organ DJ, Pete Fallico. Do you know Pete?
No.
Who's a West Coast organ DJ. He has a show called the Doodlin Lounge where he plays all organ music and supplies many artists in Northern California with Hammond organs. I've played many of his instruments. I think he's working with Chester Thompson now, who plays very jazz-oriented music now. But there's great videos. There was like a Keyboard Magazine article about Chester and his pedal playing, and he does like really difficult bouncing on the pedals to get the 16th notes. But in general, everybody's coming from Jimmy Smith and their concept of playing the bass pedals after 1955, I would say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Making me think of we were talking about Joey DeFrancesco one year at Montreux, he had that trio with Dennis Chambers and McLaughlin, and between,
Sure, I know that, right?
Yeah, Dennis Chambers with the double bass drum pedals.
Yeah, I got to record with Dennis Chambers, with Oz Noy. He's an incredible drummer.
Yeah, they had the whole.
Joey could walk everything with his feet. Like, he had prodigious pedal technique. He could walk everything he could do every kind of everything on the organ.
If people want to push next level with this stuff, obviously, going around to used record stores and finding Jimmy Smith LPs, by the way, worth the price for the cover photos alone.
Sure.
But YouTube channels or videos or other places
everything
to
is
find.
so easy to find. They have everything on YouTube.
Is that the place to go, you think?
That's where I go to listen to things that I'm trying to investigate, especially if someone is talking about it. You can even find tutorials about things where people really break down what's going on. And a lot of the people, I mean, not everybody is like incredible with their information. But if you see a video that has a lot of hits and it's kind of a reputable person who a lot of people check out, it's really very good. Will Blades is a great organist who makes Instagram posts. This week he's been doing tutorials. I'm checking them out a lot. I love Tony Monaco, who has great videos on the setup of the organ, the pedals, literally every kind of. I almost think Tony Monaco was the first person to do really involved instructional videos on Hammond organ.
Wow.
So if you go to YouTube and enter Hammond organ and Tony Monaco, who's a dear friend of mine and a great organist, he plays with Steve Smith. They play here at Birdland a lot. He's got great videos on how to play the organ, and he has one video that I really love called Maybe It's Just Organ Setup, where he talks about the drawbar settings, how does, because a real organ has 4 sets of drawbars, and many young people don't even get to use a real Hammond organ. So for them to be able to understand what it's like to sit behind one of those things, it's not even easy to turn on. So there's a bit of learning to go on. But I would say check out Tony Monaco's videos. Joey D has incredible videos. He has one video in particular where he's just sitting in his house and someone is just asking him to play like all of these different organ players. Joey, play like Groove Holmes, play like Jack McDuff. He sounds exactly like all of these people, And you can really feel Joey's masterful assimilation of organ techniques in that particular video to me.
Wow.
Because he sounds exactly like these people. When he recorded he has a record with Jimmy Smith. I don't know if it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Hot Damn or something like that? It's like late 90s. It was a big record.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they had a real mutual.
Sure. Tony Monaco he told me he would send, when he was a kid, recordings of him playing accordion to Jimmy Smith. And that's how they became in contact. So there's a lot of great information. My advice would be to not do too many things at once. Try to work on one thing at a time.
Always good.
Yeah.
Is the Hammond organ still a current instrument? Are they being manufactured? And
they are not. They're not the ones with the tubes. Now, I actually am endorsed by Hammond Suzuki, but they make digital replications of the Hammond organ, which are excellent. That's what I play. Are the Hammond SKX Pro is the new double manual kind of flagship, and it sounds amazing. And they have a setting called JOS C3, which is that Van Gelder
James Oscar Smith.
Yeah, C3, and it sounds just like it.
Wow. Is that a C3 that they have at?
That's what he played, and that's a lot of people don't know that organ is a C3, not a B3.
Wow.
Yeah, the one at Van Gelder. But that's the one I played when I did it's the same thing, and it's so pristine condition,
And what the difference between the B3 and the C3?
There's not a lot of difference. The B3 has spindle legs, and the C3 has straight sides. I'm sure that there are sonic characteristics which are slightly different that I'm not totally expert on. The C's were considered church models.
Mm-hmm.
B3 is kind of the most classic organ, but when you listen to Jimmy Smith on a lot of those Van Gelder recordings, it's a C3. Mm-hmm. All of them, as far as I know.
And if all you have access to is a synthesizer, Can you get there? Can you?
Absolutely. You know, they make amazing software. I use B3, is it BX3? It's made by IK Multimedia. They actually partnered with Hammond, and they kind of brought all of us in on it. And we would demo and test the stuff when it first came out. And I have one small contribution to it. It has a split, so you can play bass and the right hand. That was my idea, I think. So that was my small contribution to that software. But there's a lot of great software. You MIDI it up to a MIDI keyboard that costs $100 that has drawbars, and you have all the sounds.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Is it a thing these days? Are there more and more people discovering organ? Or
there's still, to me, not a lot of real organ players. I almost think that there's less organ players than there is anything else.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it's great if you're me, because there's not as many people. Right. It's a very small group of people, so you get to play with a lot of different. You know, you kind of zoom to the top of the ranks just because there's not as many people who do it. I'm sure there's a lot of gifted young people playing organ. I don't know of as many organists as I do pianists, let's say, for young people.
Sure.
So,
I mean, does anybody come right into organ, or does everybody kind of come through piano?
I think people who play in church go right to the organ.
Oh, okay.
You know, but
sure.
that's a slightly different style of playing the organ. Mm-hmm. And we would need another 3 hours to talk about that, because it's very different.
Next time.
Gospel organ is a very different style.
Oh, yeah.
The bass is all played with the feet sometimes still, and they play the left hand on the top manual. You know, they kind of switch the way the manuals. It's difficult to explain. They will play the bass with the feet and play kind of preacher chords, they call them, on the lower manual, which has the sub-octaves pushed in. So it's almost like an octave up feature. So you can play like pianistic chords in the middle, and the top manual can be used for shouts. But it's actually a very involved. And I love on YouTube, there's a gentleman named C-Dub who does great gospel organ videos that I love to check out. You know.
How do you spell that?
C-Dub. Maybe his last name is Lewis. I hope I'm getting that right. If you just put C-Dub and organ, though, on YouTube.
Letter C,
C and D-U-B. Mm-hmm.
All right. Mm-hmm. Brian Charette, breaking it down.
Always a pleasure.
There's always a next level with you. There's always another place you've been, I haven't been yet, and you're always very generous about opening the door and bringing us along. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I feel the same way about you, Mitch.
Brian Charette, check him out. Come check out. You want to hit the gigs one more time?
Yeah, I'm at the Ear In tonight, February 1st at Mesro, and beginning of next month, a lot in Ventura and LA. And everything is on my website where I'm going to be.
There's Brian, BrianCharette.com. Yeah, man. Shall we get back to Gerzenich?
Sure.
In Köln?
I love the way you say it. Of course.
Well, they got it wrong here. It says it's in Germany. This was not in Germany. It was in West Germany. Sorry. Mm-hmm. What's coming up?
What do we have? Some of them are untitled, aren't they?
Yes.
Maybe Alfie is coming. Where are we now?
Uh-oh. One of us was supposed to be paying attention.
Some of these are untitled, though, so I don't know what song.
You know what? I'll tell you what's coming up is, I think, Satin Doll. Did we hear Satin Doll? We didn't hear Satin Doll.
We heard a short version of it on the end
so
of
it's
the
this
other
untitled next one. Yeah, it's this next untitled one. Mm-hmm. Well, there it is. It's called Untitled, from the pen of Jimmy Smith. Mm-hmm. Eddie McFadden on guitar, Anthony Crosby on drums. Anything you want to say about those two characters?
You know, I don't really know a lot about those guys.
Me neither.
To be honest.
All right. Well, we're hearing them along with Jimmy Smith on the organ. It's a radio recording from VDR, no doubt, in Cologne. And it's Jimmy Smith live music from the WKCR archives in Deep Focus. Oh,
your work, baby. And I'm gonna try it on you, baby. What I said, baby. I got my mojo working, baby. And I'm gonna try it on you, baby. What I said. Well, I tried New York State. Ooh, baby, you're gonna give me a chance on you, baby. What I say, baby. Well, I got my mojo working, baby. And I'm gonna try it on you, baby. Ooh, I got my ruler. Well, I got my mojo working, baby. And I'm gonna try it on you, baby. Ooh, yeah, baby. Well, I tried in New York City. Oh, Lord, you gonna give me a chance on me. Yeah, I'm gonna work my rule later. Well, I got my mojo working, and I'm gonna try it on you, baby. What I say, baby? Yeah, I got my mojo working, and I'm gonna try it on you, baby. Yeah, I get my regulator working at it. Well, I tried the New York City. Oh, Lord, you're gonna give me a chance.
The incredible Jimmy Smith. And got my mojo working, of course. Jimmy Smith, this is a live recording. You are not going to find this in your local record store, but radio broadcast from Cologne, West Germany at Gelsenkirchen in December of 1969. The trio of Eddie McFadden on guitar, Anthony Crosby on drums. And my thanks once again for my guest, Brian Charette, for coming through and giving me new ears to hear Jimmy Smith. I hope you had the same experience from it. And I just want to, again, give you a chance to let you know I'm Mitch Goldman, and the show's called Deep Focus. We've made a podcast out of it. That was one of the great kindnesses of COVID-19. We were locked out of the studio for 2 years, and I used that time to put this podcast together. It's completely free, no advertising, no subscription, no borders or walls or boundaries of any kind. It's there for you. In fact, it's on the phone in your pocket right now. All you got to do is pull out your favorite podcasting app and do a search on Deep Focus. You'll find it. I invite you to subscribe. If you do, you're going to get notified when new episodes go up. There's hundreds of episodes. And it's also, I'll tell you, if you aren't together with the podcasting thing, you can go to the hosting site and you can just click on the most recent show there. It's mitchgoldman.podbean.com. mitchgoldman.podbean.com. I happen to think it's easier to just do the subscription thing on the podcast, but whatever works for you is great. You can also find out a little more information. I mentioned a little bit earlier. We have the is on the mitchgoldman.com, a separate website. On the About Deep Focus, you'll see history about the show and also history of individual programs going back 15 years and all kinds of other stuff. And you can follow us on Instagram. We are deep_focus_podcast. Deep Focus Podcast at Instagram. Put up photos and little stories about these artists and everything. Chance to follow along and get notified when there's a new show coming along. So all that stuff. I do invite you. I'm going to ask you two things, okay? You're thinking, this is so great what they're doing over there. What can I do to give a little something back? Tell a friend or big us up on your social media or on any of the programs that you can subscribe to. Give us 5 stars or thumbs up or whatever, and I'll tell you why. Not just that we like a pat on the back, we do, but really what it does, it helps other people find the show. People who don't know about the show, which is most people. But if you do that, you're going to open the door to someone else to come through and enjoy the music you love. So give us some likes and stuff. It's Deep Focus from Small Media Large. All right. Well, we're going to end. We got just a couple minutes left. We're going to go back to Galzenisch, if I'm saying that anywhere close to recognizably. It's in Köln, West Germany. I think it's still there. It was December 1969, the trio of Jimmy Smith on the organ with Eddie McFadden on guitar, Anthony Crosby on drums. The show's called Deep Focus. Keep it tuned right here, WKCR FM, WKCR HD1, and WKCR.org, 89.9 FM, wherever you find us. And we'll be back in a few weeks with more of this. Meanwhile, keep it tuned right here.